Hey guys, we're here for another one. This is American Coin and Currency, how PCGS and NGC changed the coin industry forever. We're here with the host, Dustin Lee, myself here, John Mady, CEO and founder of American Coin and Currency. How's it going, John?
Going great. How are you doing today?
Oh, that's great. The prices of everything's going up, just you can look around and you're just like, wow, everything's changing fast. Um, it's exciting to always see, the industry growing, like we said it before. And we're here to educate everybody, of course. But yeah, maybe give a little intro of yourself. I'll give an intro of myself as well.
Yeah. John Mady, owner, founder of American Coin and Currency, absolute coin nerd, and wannabe historical buff. I love what I do. I was thinking about it the other day, and when I wake up, like on Monday, I look forward to coming to my office.
Mm.
So if that's a gauge for anything, then yeah, it's good.
Nice. Yeah, it's great to hear that. Yeah, I wish I had my office separate. I'm working on my office, so I want to have that separation of work life. I have an office in my
Yeah,
back.
it's that whole it's was I used to work from my house, and for a
Yeah.
while I liked it, but then after a while, like, I'm a social person, so I used to go down to the supermarket at lunch just so I could be around people because where I lived was so, like, out there, and then, but some people love it, you know? Some people absolutely love it. I like the energy. I like when my office is buzzing, when everyone's on the phones, talking to customers, people are coming in, there's just that, like, electricity in the air. That's what I thrive on.
Yeah, I feel it. Yeah, I definitely miss some of those social connections when it comes to working. But yeah, I've been working from home for a while, so um yeah, but I always think about with you in the office. I'm like, man, if I had that too, that'd be nice.
Real
uh,
quick, real quick, real quick before we get going, Dustin, I
yeah.
have an arbitrage that anyone can get involved with right now.
Mm.
So yesterday was the last day that a penny was struck at the U.S. Mint.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had a customer call earlier. Actually, one of my salespeople called me. They have a customer that was looking to buy some things and then wanted to know if we could supply them with rolls of 2025 pennies since they're not going to have a 2026.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, well, yeah, why not just go to the bank or something and get them? And then I was like, let me look on eBay. So I went on eBay, and rolls of which you can get at the bank for 50 cents are selling for $10 on eBay, and they're probably going to go up from there. So I would
Mm.
advise anyone who's active on eBay to run to their local bank and buy a couple $100 worth of penny rolls. Just make sure they're 2025s. And, you know, I mean, they're 50 cents. If you can sell them for $10, well, that's 1,000% plus markup,
Jeez.
2,000%.
Yeah, that's a good come up. um,
Right?
I just saw that. It costs 4 cents to produce one penny, it said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the government, and that's the essence of our government right there.
Yeah, like we mentioned last week about like shaving off a little bit of the coins as they ended up in different hands. You
Yeah.
know, and time now it's like, slowly taking that copper out of the pennies themselves, or taking silver out of out of silver coins. Eventually, it's just like it's going to cost them more money to produce it. So, I mean, what's the point?
I wondered if we can look real quick the old school copper pennies, the wheatbacks,
Oh,
after the wheatbacks, it's not pure copper. They added like manganese or some other things. But I wonder how much one copper penny from, 1909 to 1950, what was the last year? 1980, 1958, was it the last year? And then they went to Lincoln, to the Lincoln backs, Lincoln Memorial. But I
mm,
wonder what one penny of copper is worth.
mm. Let's see. I'll pull
It's
this
worth
up.
more than a penny. I know that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because did they put zinc in some of them too?
Yeah, that's a zinc. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, some of these metals are. See, moderate wear, you can see them 5 cents to $1 in retail, but let's see, circulation condition. Okay, this is mostly focused on the actual value, but what about the so you're wanting to know like the metal value?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Let's see. Let's see. All right, I'll pull this up here. Got some chat GPT going on here. Okay, so it's saying um, wheat pennies approximately 95% copper, 5% zinc, weighing about 3.11 grams melt. So it'd be roughly about 1.15 cents, 3 cents.
Okay.
So yeah. Uh, yeah. Low general circulation is about 2.5 to 3 cents. Copper and zinc commodity prices. Yeah, about
All
three
right.
cents. I mean,
Wow.
all right. Well, I mean, pennies have come a long way in pricing. But yeah, let's get into it. So you guys, if you don't know, that PCGS and NGC really changed the landscape. 1986 is when PCGS started to come out. I want to give you guys a little breakdown of what third-party grading services like CAC as well, um, and then how the grading third-party grading industry really changed like how premiums, the labeling, different varieties of population, of course, those things really changed how grading has come along, of course, and how those accessibility, it really changed, how we can look at the industry now. So, I know, John, you've been in the industry for quite a bit. I know
Yes.
Sarasota, we got NGC really close to Florida. So you're really connected there. Maybe a little bit of your take on, what where you started. I know you didn't start like 1986, but like, like where was like the grading industry when you first started, and like how has it changed over time?
So when I got into the industry, graded coins were, they were obviously around, and I would speak to the old timers back then about the before, how was it prior to graded coins, prior to Annex, who I believe was the first,
Uh,
then PCGS and NGC, um, and it was just literally, but his words were the Wild West. That's what stuck in my head, and this is many years ago that I had this conversation, and so it was really, really buyer beware. There was no source to go to verify that what you were purchasing or what you're considered purchasing is what it is perpetuated to be. So yeah, it was, you really had to have a good dealer that you trusted, and because grading can be, boy, I can look at something, and I'll give you a perfect example. Yesterday, I purchased the most beautiful piece dollar rolls. I think I have some here. Show you a couple that I've seen in a long, long time. I mean, these pieces are just, they're gem BU. Uh, the guy I got them from, he's like 73, and they were his dad's, and they look like they had just been sitting for years, right? And not never picked through, and they're all same date, so like 22, 22D, 20, 3, 23D, 23S, and but I was going through, and I never do this when I buy rolls, because even BU rolls are not going to grade out with common date, coins, let's say piece dollars. The juice isn't worth the squeeze. The cost of grading, you're not going to get that back unless it grades high. So in the past, I would look through for certain things, but when I opened these up, I was like, oh boy, they are just spectacular. I mean, they are, and
oh,
this is just one example. So I was pulling them out. My camera's not focusing too well. but I was pulling these out. You get the sense. And
Yeah.
there's 20 a roll, so I was laying them all out, and then I was just going through and picking out the ones that I wanted to send in for grading, because I think some of these are going to come back 65 and maybe even 66. That's how nice they are. And
Mhm.
my point of bringing this up is that it's all, it was relative back in the day. So I might have looked at these peace dollars pre-grading service and then called a customer and been like, "Hey, Dustin, I have these, individual, let's say 1928 or 1934S, which are the key dates, and this is easily a mid-state 65 piece." Well,
Mm.
by me saying that, one grade when you get up to these, like a 34S, a 65 compared to a 66, you're talking thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars.
Jeez.
So, I could look at it and think, 65, and I'm pretty good. I'm not, I don't do grading for a living, but a client might look at it and be like, "Listen, John, you send me these coins. This looks like a 62 to me." So
Wow.
having the grading companies come into the industry and just transform the whole industry, it probably made dealers, at least, and this is just, I don't know if it's accurate or not, I'm just thinking out loud. Dealers probably had to rein things in a little bit, but it was absolutely fantastic for the end users, because now you're getting exactly what you're told that you're going to be getting. There's no variation, there's no variable. If PCGS, for the most part, there are some oddball things, occurrences where you can resubmit like an old green holder, a rattler, and you
Mhm.
might get it, you squeeze out a grade higher.
Right.
But yeah, that really helped out the end users, the customers, and that's what it's all about, right? Because without the customers, there's really not this business is not what it is. So the really cleared out a lot of just old detritus that needed to be cleared out, and made way for what I think is a much more exciting hobby and passion, and whether it's investing, collecting, whatever the reason why you do it, it just makes it, in my opinion, it's just more exciting, because now I know that I have a 64, or let's say a 62, 1928 $20 double eagle, and I want to get, all of the years in 62, or, you name the coin, Morgans or peace dollars. And now it's not subjective. Now you're not thinking, "Oh, is that really a 62?" And that's how it used to be, prior to 1986. So the grading companies were a godsend for the industry, in my opinion. I couldn't imagine being in this industry without the graders. But then again, they've always been here since I've been in the industry. Uh, so yeah, that's my 2 cents on at least that little nugget.
Mm. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Is like it really made it so there's kind of a set standard, and I'm in the, graded Pokemon, like trading cards and baseball cards as well. I've been collecting for quite a bit, but really having that like standard where people can trust, PCGS, creating the first slabs and making that as a standard for the industry. But yeah, I wanted to touch on like kind of the history of like how they all both, I guess, BCGS and NGC kind of went back and forth because I've seen some of the kind of the standards they created between each other, like the encapsulation with the slabs. PCGS was followed with the first slab coins, where NGC followed the next year in 1987. But
Okay.
in the 1990s, the population report and registry with first strike was introduced with PCGS, then the early release designations from NGC. But the one thing I noticed that they did differently was in the 2000s, there was a secure plus holder and true view imaging, which I'm not quite sure what that
Yeah.
is. For the PCGS side, um, but NGC followed with signature series labels, which I think that was like the standard for signatures. Um,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if anything followed, before that, if there was a precursor to that, but it seems like NGC kind of added to the industry with label or with the signatures, or PCGS was like, I guess, a staple for slabs. Um,
Yep.
so they've been kind of going back and forth like over the years. In the 2010s, they did NFC chips, which we've seen. You showed that on a previous episode with PCGS. Um, NGC did a couple things with like scratch resistance.
Yep.
And yeah, so it seems like both of them are like adding to like the graded aspects. Like, they're both obviously like doing research, like what they could do better for labeling, or things have changed over time. But I think the significant things I've seen is the first strike and the early release designations, and then the signatures, and those are like huge. Like you mentioned before, like the Mustang, the V8 of the coins, and how that really plays on, like, if you're going to get something that is mint state 70, adding that advanced release or first strike to that could really change significantly over time. um,
Yes.
but yeah, I wanted to get into like how, like, different, I guess we touched on all this, like pedigrees and signatures and designations, but
Sure. Well,
go
let me go back, 'cause you had asked what TrueView is,
yeah,
and
true,
it's
yes,
a great
exactly.
tool that PCGS came up with. So when I submit a coin for grading, you could check off numerous boxes, how fast you want it graded. You have to fill in some details. One of the options is TrueView, and what that is they take a very, very clear picture of the obverse and reverse of the coin, and that way, you can if you take your coin that has TrueView, this is an NGC, but you take a PCGS coin that has TrueView, um, you can log into PCGS's website and do a verification, and the image of your coin comes up. But what's nice about that, especially for dealers, I've used it many, many times. It's such a great tool. Um, it's hard to especially when you get into higher end coins. The details really, really matter, right? So I could take a picture of a slabbed coin with my iPad, with my iPhone, and send it to a customer, uh, and it's a good photo. But if you're going to buy, a 50,000 or 100,000 or whatever, fill in the blank number coin, um, you're going to invest that kind of money, you know, prior to receiving it and committing to the transaction. At least me, I would want to have a really very clear photo, you know. So what TrueView enables is me to go onto PCGS and find a true view of that particular coin, since it's already been graded and it's already has true view. And now I can copy and paste, I can send a link of that high res photo to my customer. And now they can see in an incredible detail that coin that they're going to be purchasing.
Mm,
So TrueView is a real nice option that's come in very handy many, many, many times.
interesting. Yeah, so it's like a, not necessarily a 3D scan, I guess, sort of.
It's just it's an overhead view of the coin, and it's just very, very high res, maybe even 4K, definitely 4K, maybe even a little better. But
Wow.
it's just, yeah, it's a really very clean photo,
Mm,
and it's just another tool in the toolkit for serious investors and collectors to and dealers that are offering
mm,
these products to provide to the end user.
mm. Yeah, I mean, that's important, especially, having, that quality really determines, specific, clients. Like, they might be interested in something that's just like flawless, or even some, products, or some coins or have toning, specific toning, and it doesn't come
Yeah.
out like, unless you visual like you have that, visual to really determine the value of it. So Yeah, I could see that really coming along, especially it was like in the mid 2000s or something like that. Said, um,
Yeah. And,
so
NGC and PCGS, they're like Coke and Pepsi, right?
yeah, true.
Coke and Pepsi, Macy's and Gimbals, if you're, old and you can remember that,
Gimbals, I
those
don't
days. But just, very competitive, and they're constantly coming out or trying to come out with things that just make uh, the whole industry better for all involved. And for that, I congratulate them and commend them.
Yeah, like you said, there was Annex before. It's like, was there no comparison? Like there was no like competition, like, and like they weren't like pushing each other. There was no other person or like entity that was pushing Annex to be like the standard per se. Um, like, do you know a little bit more about the Annex?
Annex Annex was opened in 1972,
Oh
the year I
wow,
was born.
nice.
And I didn't know this about Annex. They're the parent company of Annex is actually the ANA, the
Oh,
American Pneumatic
that
Association,
makes that makes sense. Okay,
right? The
wow,
things you learn. I didn't know that.
interesting. Okay, so that'd be a good question to have for somebody from ANA, like one of the like leader chapter, like one of the higher ups. Um, yeah, that'd be interesting to see like how did that like unfold? Like, are they still like wanting to be in the fold, or are they like just letting NGC PCGS obviously is taken over? But yeah, that's interesting. Um, so yeah, I wanted to touch on like because I mentioned we touched on labels and pedigrees and whatnot, signatures, destinations, but we didn't really touch on some of like the long term like fad labels. So like, were there labels before that didn't reach to standards today? Like some things that were first strike or first early release, advanced release, stuff like that. Like, was there any labels that you've seen that don't exist now?
Not really. There's not to my knowledge. I know that there is a large subcategory, subgroup, I should say, of collectors and investors that actually they purchase the slab, not so much the coin. So they're
Oh,
looking for
okay.
coins that are slab. There's a ton of grading companies that are no longer around.
Right.
All kinds of, third tier graders. They flash in the pan, then they're gone. But yeah,
Mhm.
the old, really old NGC holders with dot matrix printing on them, the
Yeah.
old PCGS rattlers are
Yeah.
highly collectible, just in and of themselves. And I read an article the other day, well, not the other day, a couple weeks ago. One of the first, it was verified to be the first or second coin ever graded by NGC went up for auction,
Oh
and it
wow.
sold for a considerable amount of money. Yeah, so
Interesting.
people do collect just as the slabs themselves too. But as
Yeah.
to answer your question, I don't know of any that were around, and then like at least with PCGS and NGC that are no longer offered.
Okay. Fair. Yeah. So just older labels, low grade mint numbers. So of course that's like usually what people go for, like the first whatever amount of mints that were graded, um that people seek out for lower numbers, I guess to say. I've seen that in different industries, which that makes sense. um
What do they
so
have? I'm curious though, with Pokemon, what do
yeah.
they have anything like first strike or first printed,
Yeah.
first day production?
Oh yeah. Yeah, so they
Okay.
have first edition, shadowless. So it's like the first series. They had for the English set, they had the first edition, which was shadowless. So basically, like all the Pokemon cards didn't have a shadow, and then second print was shadowless, the same no shadow, but no first edition, and then the third print was shadow, or so not shadowless, not first edition, and then the Japanese base set has um it has like no rarity symbol. So there's like in the bottom right corner, they have a rarity symbol. They'll say like rare or uncommon or common. So it'll be like a kind of like a star, and then there'll be like a diamond, which is uncommon. The star is rare, and then
Yep.
the circle, which is common. So those are pretty much indication. But the first series, so their version of shadowless was there was no indication of rarity. But of course, everybody knew the rarity, so nobody knew about these things until years later, of course. And then there's like small things like on the packaging there'll be like a certain printing, like there'll be like a gold like a gold strand or like kind of like a cellophane for cigarettes. So they
Yeah.
have like a gold kind of wrapping for the older. So you can't tell. It doesn't say, oh, this pack has shadowless per se. When it comes to like the theme decks, which are just like pre-constructed cards, you know exactly what cards you're getting. But um the labeling indicates that this specific version is like the shadowless one, which holds more value, of course. And then the pack itself, first edition, stuff like that. So you can indicate, um, this is going to have shadowless cards. Yeah, so those are pretty much the labeling first edition. Over time, there's like specific type of errors and stuff like that. Yeah, just like printing related things. Um, Pre-release, there's promos, like unaccessible cards. You have to go to like Japan only to access cards, or like they have these like uh like tournaments per se, where they play the game, and then like first place, and this is like the top tier card. It's called the Pikachu tournament card or something like that. It's like the first and number, like there's first and second and third place, like gold, silver, kind of bronze kind of thing. But that card
Yeah.
itself is worth over $10 million. It's graded like a 7 or 8. I think
Is that the
Logan.
one that Post Malone bought?
Uh,
That's Magic the Gathering.
yeah, he bought the
That's the
Black Lotus. Yeah, so Black Lotus is like the creme de la creme of Magic the Gathering. So I'm
okay.
from the Seattle area, so it's pretty prevalent because Wizards of the West Coast they were uh, in Redmond, Washington, which is where Nintendo is. So these things were pretty prevalent, like trading card games coming out of the '90s, essentially. Um, and yeah, I wish I took advantage, but yeah, so yeah, the top top tier, I guess, US one is like the first edition Shadowless Charizard PSA 10, which is roughly about 200 to 250 k. And that's pretty like the standard. I think there's like a probably in the hundreds population. Um, but like Charizard's like the go-to card to get across like pretty much all like sets of cards. I like to focus on Japanese sets because they don't remake them in the US. That's kind of
Yep.
like a secret. I mean, people do that. They'll get like the Japanese version because they don't release all the cards on the US. So that's another like I guess go to. And then like yeah, special sets where people only get specific cards out of that set. Um, so like usually Charizard. I mean, that's usually the thing. So, um, but yeah, there's cards up to $10 million. Black Lotus, I'm not sure how
It's just
much that
like
was.
coins then. It's like
Yeah,
just
it's
like
the same.
coins.
It's the
All
same.
the variables. You have to compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges, and
Yeah,
yeah, I mean that makes total sense.
yeah. NGC's in the fold with CGC. I mean, that's their parent their parent company is NGC. So they're across the board
Yeah,
as well.
certified collectibles group.
Yeah. So yeah, they're just as prevalent. I'd say I don't want to say I'd say 1.5 tier. People do grade with CGC, but PCGS or PSA and Beckett are the top tier grading services for Pokemon usually. But
All right,
um
good to
yeah,
know.
but yeah, of course. There's quite a bit of action in that industry. And I'm constantly pulling out cards from years ago. I bought huge um, binders and cards from people before it got popular again in 2017, 2018. Um, and yeah, now cards are like, they were $1, now they're like 100, kind of thing. So I'm like, should I get these graded? I'll sell them locally or So yeah, it's just like endless cards I bought from early sets that people are like sought out now. It's like these things were pennies, and I'm like, $5 for a card that's worth a penny, it's like
Yeah.
small wins here, adds up. Um, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at in the industry. Maybe we could talk about in another episode, like different grading, in the industry as a whole, like comics or even games. I have seen VHSs, CDs, you know,
Everything.
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 Yeah.
Yeah,
um,
let's do that. That'd be fun because there's a lot of different things that can get graded that people probably don't realize can be graded.
I found that out recently. Like VHS tapes being graded. Like what? I guess so. I mean, there's some sought out some
I
VHS.
need to go over to my mom's and look through her closet. She has old VHS tapes with the sleeves still on them.
Is
Try to find something that's collectible. How
Yeah, I
funny
mean,
would that? Wow.
why not? Yeah, yeah. People grade games. I noticed with like sealed copies and stuff. So
The
um,
games are big. Yeah.
games are huge. Yeah, I've passed up on a lot of those early on, but it's okay because I play obscure games that I personally like, but wasn't as popular. Those games are the most sought out games because of the production. There's low
Yep.
population, especially in
Yep.
the sealed version. So yeah,
Yeah, and you
but
used to be able to get those Nintendo games with multiple games in one cartridge. So I was going
yes,
through some recently, and I found the original Nintendo Q. The player, the
yeah.
gun, and
Oh
that
yeah,
cartridge that has Duck Hunt and Mario Brothers on one cartridge.
yeah. I had that one. I played Duck
Okay.
Hunt more. That one's
Yeah.
not as there's one that's it's like the marathon. That's the one that's like the go-to. Has like all bunch of mini games. And then there was then the tournament version of that had like little switches on it. There's a gold and silver version. Those ones are worth like in the hundreds of thousands.
Who
Yeah.
knew? Like, who would think, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And like the prototype games too, like they'll end up in different like garage sales. People sell them. Like previous like people that worked at Nintendo or I've seen stuff like that. People like just randomly at a garage sale buy like a prototype of a console or something that doesn't exist because it's like these guys are just they're building these consoles 20 years later. They're like, I'm just getting rid of my old stuff, and these things don't even touch retail. That's the biggest thing, or things I say is not for retail, and those are
Yeah.
things that are worth valuable. It's like, who knew? It's like, I'm gonna resell this, not for resale kind of thing. Um, and then those things become valuable because you didn't resell it. You couldn't resell it. And those are because they didn't want you to return it once you took it out of the packaging. The original like console it comes with a bundle, and then that's what I learned is like people wanted to return the game, so they put not for resale on it, and then those become or blockbuster exclusive games or videos. Yeah, like exclusive only at specific like video rental locations. That's another one too.
Makes sense. I mean, they get granular with coins. Why not with games and all that too?
Yeah, that's what I've learned is just accessibility, and that really connects to the population control. And I actually wanted to another segment I wanted to bring up is population. With coins,
Yeah.
that's huge in the industry, and that really became more prevalent once the grading services were there. Um, Maybe we could touch on like what that looks like and how has that affected you and your journey through the industry?
That's a great question. Uh, Prior to the graders, even when I started in the industry, Red Book has always been around. It goes back, I believe, to the 40s or mid 40s, maybe 50s, but those early Red Books are even collectible. So Red Book was great to see for numismatic coins, and they've extended Red Book now to include modern and some other categories. But they always had the population, the mintage is what they have it as in Red Book. But once the graders, I also think prior to being able to log in and go and verify a coin or check out population reports on the graders' websites, how would you find that? I mean, it would be rather difficult, especially if you didn't have a reputable dealer that you were working with to get that
Mm,
information and know that it's correct. So just the mere fact that the graders have that information readily available is an absolute game changer. Because
mm,
at the end of the day, really, the population is everything. And the lower the it's simple supply and demand, right? I mean, the lower the population, and if it's a popular piece and everyone wants it, it's just the prices are going to appreciate. So at the click of a couple buttons, I can find populations on pretty much any graded coin, see all the what the population is on lower grades in that coin, total population for that coin, and then the what we love to do here at American Coin and Currency is provide our customers with what's known as top pop coins. So
mm,
a top pop is the top population coin in that series. An example would be, let's say, like I don't know, to a 1911D, $5 Indian. Uh, you look on the graders, you'll see that it might grade up to like and I don't know off the top of my head, but let's say a 68. Maybe
mm,
there's a 69 out there, which would be the top pop for that coin. If there's 168, that's the top pop for the coin. And there might be 5 or 6 67s, and then 166s, and so on and so forth. So being able to provide customers who are really serious about investing and collecting coins with that information is an absolute it's a game changer, because you're providing to the end user a level of comfort, verifiable comfort, that that information is accurate and correct, and therefore they can now make an educated decision on whether or not to move forward with that purchase. And again, uh, everything is relative, right? So for some people, a $500 coin might be like someone else buying a $5 million coin.
true.
It's all how much you have and what's relative to you. Um, but I can't stress strongly enough how incredibly useful the grading companies have been for dealers, absolutely for myself, for being able, just the fact that I can provide my end users, my customers, with verifiable, accurate information is everything to me. I couldn't imagine doing it otherwise.
True. Yeah, I mean it's really important to have that standard, like I mentioned, like um, and having the ability to see these populations at the just a click away. That's important. But yeah, I like that you mentioned like the top pops, like some people, at least I've seen in the Pokemon industries, like sometimes people want like the super low PSA ones, even though they're damaged, but that even itself has a low population. So like a mint
Yeah,
state, really low mint state could be a certain client looking for a low population in comparison to a mint state 70, which might have a higher population. Um,
correct.
so that's interesting. Yeah, I wanted to jump into CACG. So talk about CAC and how maybe how it impacts like regrades and shifts the population as well, because those are its own subcategory per se. How that's affecting. So it's I guess if you want to give like a little bit insight on what CAC
Oh
is.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So I believe CAC, Certified Acceptance Corporation, is what that stands for.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that that was founded by the same gentleman who founded PCGS, David Hall, or at least he had something to do with starting CAC.
Mm,
And so when I got into the business, uh, CAC was not around, but in the last 10 years they've become just, you see it more and more. Now they've actually become a grading service open to the public, where before it was just dealers that, you had to be a CAC certified dealer to submit
Oh,
coins directly to CAC. And it
interesting.
would just be a little jelly. We called it, the jelly bean, because it was a little sticker that was on the slab. I don't have one in front of me right here. And so I used to think, like, you have these unbelievable people working at really talented people working at PCGS and NGC, top tier numismatists that
Mm,
really know their craft. Why do I need someone above that, like checking their homework is basically what it is, right? Checking that they're doing the right job.
yeah.
And so I didn't get it at first, but as I collected a pretty vast collection myself, I realized that when you get into top, higher, let's say higher tier coins, it's really an investment in the coin to have that piece have a CAC certification on it.
Mm,
Um, and again, this is pre CAC rating, CACG.
right.
So by having that jelly bean on there, they're not only verifying that the grader is accurate, but that will be the grade forever. So it's literally set in stone after CAC reviewed the coin.
Mm,
And again, they didn't submit a grade to it. They would just, if I submitted a 1893 S Morgan silver dollar, that's
mm,
a mid-state 65, that's a six-figure coin, and I want to verify that, that again, that's a huge investment. I want to verify that the people who at the graders, because listen, everyone's human. Mistakes can be made, right? Especially back years ago, prior to really high computer magnification being the standard, and other technologies at these graders. You want to make sure that that is the grade, that there's no variable, there's no variation, it's set in stone. So by just sticking that jelly bean on that slab, now you have an extra. It's an again, it's like insurance on your coin.
mm.
You're paying a little bit to get that jelly bean on it, and now it's set in stone. That grade is what it is, and by having that jelly bean on there, uh, typically it would add a 15 to 20% premium
Oh,
on the
wow.
coin. Now that it could, the higher value of the coin, that premium will slide down a little bit. If you have $1 million coin, it's not going to generally add $250,000 to it in value. But
Right.
with lower end coins, let's say $10,000 and less,
Yeah.
that there was a premium there for the jelly bean. So yeah, you could think of early CAC as literally an insurance policy that you're paying for to ensure that what you have, that you just invested a large chunk of money is what it is, and that the grade is accurate, so that if it ever gets resubmitted at some point in the future, there's going to be no surprises. It's not going to come back
Mm.
half a grade lower or full grade lower.
Yeah, that makes sense. CAC's grading is still prevalent today, like valuation wise. Like people are still submitting. Um,
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
things.
I mean, they're now in the trenches with PCGS and NGC fighting for that marketplace, for the
Oh,
market customers. Whereas
okay.
they were just this, like, you're at a college, and you do, you're a teacher's assistant, and you put together some summary on whatever the subject is.
Mm.
And but now the professor comes in and looks over it and puts his seal of approval on it. So it's kind of the same thing. And I thought that business model was great, like,
Yeah.
because they were just like this lofty kind of entity that, ooh, you got a jelly bean on your coin. There's
Right.
like a little speak to it. And now nothing. I think CAC is phenomenal. I'm not like kicking on them or anything like that. I'm just saying that now, in my opinion, and the way I see it, now it was only them before, when they were doing the jelly beans.
Right.
Now, now they're in the trenches fighting with PCGS and NGC for that market. So
Yeah,
we'll see how it ends up.
yeah, that's a little tough. Hard to get that market share, but yeah, I mean, I get it. There's a lot of money on the table there, so I get it. All right, let's get into the questions. We got the last 10 minutes here. Um, how did PCGS 1986 tamper-proof slabs change collector trust compared to pre-grading dealer era? Pretty much answered that question. Here, I'll pull that up again.
Yeah. So, how did PCGS 1986 tamper-proof slabs change collector trust compared to? Well, now it completely changes trust. So when you buy a piece of property, right, you're not relying on the person selling you that property that the dimensions of the property are or is what it is. You have a third party come in and evaluate that, and so you pay for that before you close on a house, right? Everyone has to. It's the same concept, right? You're gonna you have a third party, an unbiased third
Right.
party that is going to grade the coin, and so the trust level, went up dramatically with trusting the graders as opposed to pre 1986, where you had to listen to my word. Like, for the most part, your dealer, whoever your dealer was, you're hoping that they're giving you the correct information, and there are a lot of trusting people out there, and I've heard stories about some people that really got. I mean, they used to sell stuff for way, 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 way over market because they could just say, "Oh no, it's a say 65." Meanwhile, it's a AU 58.
Wow,
So
huge difference.
yeah, and and worse, right? So
Worse.
yeah, it just cleaned up the market, and I'm sure that was needed. Again, I wasn't in it at that time, but I was in seventh grade in 1986. So, but I'm sure that there were some dealers that hated it, and there were some other dealers that are reputable like myself and American Coin that loved it because it just an extra layer of trust and authenticity and all that good stuff that makes the purchasing and buying, selling, and trading of coins enjoyable.
Mm. I'll help to answer your question. Let's go to got a comment here. Who knew there's so many items that can be graded? Yeah, yeah. There's a ton. I'm still figuring it out. I watched Pawn Stars last couple weeks and been learning a lot about grading. So yeah, it's been a big eye
Thank you,
opener.
Mary.
Yeah, thanks, Mary, for that question or statement. Let's see. How many grading appeal to younger? Okay, this is a good question. How can grading appeal to younger digital collectors?
Uh, Tech needs to be bundled into the grading itself, and by the grading I mean the end product of grading.
Mhm.
I don't see any other way. You have to embed a layer of technology moving
Right.
forward in slabbed coins. We've had this conversation on the show. We're gonna have we're gonna have that conversation again. But yeah, the technology and that, whether that be blockchain related, like we're working on, or
Mhm.
some other technology that allows this physical piece to be transformed into the digital and used in the digital realm. That's, in my view, how we get younger collectors stoked about getting involved and putting together collections. Again, I don't think young people want to carry around, have boxes like this of coins and stuff all over their apartment, especially if they're
I
moving
mean,
from place to place.
yeah,
It'd be nicer to have all that on your on your phone, right? In your
yeah,
wallet on a phone. So
true.
that's what we're working on.
Yeah, I mean that's I know Pokemon people have cards, but I've seen some people have those cards in vaults. So I mean it's the same thing. Is if you have a digital representation, nobody wants to carry millions of dollars worth of coins in their property. It's an insurance policy. There's insurance around that, and it could be something that you guys rather have less physical assets than more of a digital. So yeah, we're
Yeah.
kind of the crux of that, and we'll expand that as we go as well. So Neon, appreciate the question. Let's see. We got a question by Solo Bats. What ensures coins are treated as real assets? Good question.
Well, what is an asset? Let's start with that.
Yeah.
What is an asset? An asset is what you, I, or anyone else deems to have value.
Right.
So, for the most part, anything, if enough people believe that it has value, then it becomes an asset. So what ensures that coins are treated as real assets is that there's already a very large global built-in marketplace with avid collectors and investors who now hold trillions of dollars in assets. And by assets, I mean coins, precious metals. And if we're just talking about graded coins, you're still probably approaching $1 trillion market. So I had I don't did you get we'll talk about it another time. I sent you the breakdown of if you had invested in 1972 in the NASDAQ, in the Dow, graded coin, or precious metals, the percentages. And aside from the NASDAQ, where did I put that? Aside from the NASDAQ, graded coins have actually outperformed everything else since 1972. 1970. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. It's too small. I can't even read it. But it's I can actually see here. Gold is up where was that? 186%, 362. $12,961%.
Oh man.
That's for US modern coin market index. So graded coins, modern graded coins, which I term rare, high grade modern. NASDAQ is 16,757. The S&P 500 is up 5,657% since 1970. The Dow Jones, 4,742. Silver, 1,605%, and gold, and this is before the big run, 6,634%. And that's gold priced at, this is an older article, that was gold spot at $2,357. But still, it's pretty unbelievable, right? That graded modern coins are just below the NASDAQ for performance since 1970.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it goes to show you gotta, invest early and just let it go, because industries and markets will constantly grow as population of humans will increase. People want scarcity, people want access, and anything of commodities is always going to have some value. So, get in there while you can. Investment. You can always contact us if you guys are looking for any investment needs when it comes to graded coins. Call us 561-310-8341. Email us at uniquecoins@gmail.com. Website coinandcurrency.net, and find us on eBay at American ACC or American CC. Let me pull this up right here. You can check us out. Or actually, let me pull this up here. Share my screen on this computer. And you can check us out on eBay. So pull this up here. Let's see here. There. There we go. Oh wait, where is it? There we go. Yeah, check us out on eBay. We have our inventory is changing all the time. Really good grades. Looking for anything specific, you can always give us a call. Everything that we have in-house is not necessarily always on eBay because everything moves really quick. So give us a call and let us know what you're looking for. John is always there. We got some really good representatives here at American Coin Currency that can help you with your next purchase. So feel free to give us a call.
Christmas is right around the corner. So a lot of people buy coins for Christmas.
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's gonna start picking up. So if anything specific you see on eBay, or give us a call on in-house. We have some things that you might be looking for. So and then yeah, I want to just share on what is going on in the, just remove that and bring this up. Just a little bit about precious metals and the costs of things here. So we had a little pullback. We got the 54 almost all-time high. Here we had a little spike for silver, just under, I think the top was 54 and a half. And then gold, we reached 42 last night, which all-time high is about 44, is about a little shy under 44. So man, we're pushing. And then palladium is creeping up as well. So you can see palladium's going to be making a good push over here at some point. But the markets are taking a little bit of a take back. So
Look at platinum. I mean, platinum was 900 and change not long ago at all. Under a year ago, I'd say.
Oh, that's palladium. Where's platinum? Platinum. Do I have platinum on here? It's the ticker. I forget the platinum ticker. Yeah, I don't think I have platinum on here.
That's right.
But yeah, platinum was, yeah, exactly. I was looking at platinum. I seen that the prices did come back up quite a bit. And I'll just pull up a little chart to get you guys.
On my birthday last year, November 28th, 2024, you could have bought an ounce of platinum, as many as you want, all day long, for $946 an ounce.
Yikes!
And today, the ask is $1,587.
Let's do, yeah, 1 year. Let's go back 1 year here. 24, like you said, yeah, about 1,900. They had that dip to around your birthday, yeah, dip under 100 or 1,000. Now we're looking at 17. It reached October 16th. So yeah, 1587 today. That's crazy. Yeah, I'm gonna look at like kind of all time here. Platinum. So platinum, 90s and the 300s. So pretty much that little dip there, 2020 when had that black swan with COVID. Pretty much all markets really affected. I'm not sure silver and gold. Yes, same. It's about the same. Silver. Oh, I know. I was buying silver. I was loading up on silver when it was like $15 to $18 in 2020. Yeah, I bought a ton of it from AP Max. I was just like, how can you not want to buy this? And then yeah, Mercury dimes. I remember people were selling bags of Mercury. I didn't get to buy those, but those were huge. I think like the premium Mercury dimes is like $3 per now or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like those things were like literally, I think they're worth about $1 when I had them in my sites. So I was like, man, I'll pick up some Mercury dimes. And then yeah, 2015 had that $1,000 dip for gold. So I mean, hey, it's never too late. Of course, investments is long term vision, but yeah, I mean, it's, you can't go wrong, and especially when it comes to graded coins, long term. I mean, they just go up and up. So, but
yeah, and we didn't get a chance to really discuss, like, there have been some updates, and maybe next week we'll roll it over. But
yeah,
silver being put on the critical metals list
yeah,
with the U.S. government, and there's a lot that's involved with there. We have this AI race going on globally, and more power is needed. I mean, that's the only thing holding it back. You just need more and more power. And now they're talking about building these small nuclear reactors and
yeah,
updating the grid and all these other things. And guess what? That all requires silver and platinum metals. So silver is a part of the platinum metals group. And that's probably why you also see, sorry, yeah, I said platinum. That's probably why you also see platinum, moving up as well, because silver is a byproduct of that when they're mining for platinum and other things like that. So I've said it for many years, Dustin. I'm not tooting my own horn, but I use this just when I talk to customers going back almost 10 years now. That silver is a strategic metal. It's not a precious metal. it's a strategic metal. Now I'm going to have to update that to silver's a critical metal when I talk to customers.
That's true. I made a post actually. I'll share here this before we take off here. What I've been posting. Pull this up here. So yeah, previous post is talking about nuclear reactors, and how silver's over time is three to 5 million, but it's like I think in the thousands. But China is working on some reactors. U.S. considered critical mineral, and then also mention is Trump is has the authority to halt silver exports as well. So hasn't been implemented, but that's another thing to think about. And then Fed's cutting 50 base points in December, which will boost hard assets as well. So, if it ain't the time, it's definitely the time to get involved. If it's just either precious metals or graded coins, that really holds the value over time. So,
Yep.
just to give that little plug for us before we take off here, give us a call 561-310-8341 and email us at unioncoins@gmail.com, coinandcurrency.net, eBay, American CC. You can check us out on our inventory there. So yeah, we were at the end of the podcast here. Any final words for our audience?
Just keep watching the spread on silver. The spread hasn't narrowed, so I was buying some monster boxes earlier today, and the premium on monster boxes is $10 an ounce. So that's crept up a little bit from where it was, 2 weeks ago when we briefly discussed that. I would also look. There's some apps out there where you can follow congressional leaders and their trades. I would seriously consider looking at those apps to see if any of them are accumulating either silver mining stocks or gold mining stocks. That would be a good indicator that they know something we don't. Of course, they all trade on insider trading.
True. Yeah, I've seen those mining stocks. My father worked for Ken Ross, so I noticed like the gold stocks gone up, and yeah, I mean, if you guys are involved, got to watch just where the money goes, and that's the biggest ticket.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Well, great show. Yeah, by all means, reach out to us. We're here to help and put together an amazing collection of coins for you.
For sure. Yeah, definitely get a hold of us. This is American Coin Currency, how PCGS and NGC changed the coin industry forever. Hope you guys learned a little bit here. Appreciate everyone with the questions. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Have a great day. Weekend.
Peace.